Oh, line her up. Got to be more careful. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to Ironclad RC. Got the Top Fuel RC drag boat on the block. All right, this boat is actually custom built. I've actually using the Blackjack 24 rudder bracket and rudder blade. It's the stock rudder that comes on the 24. I really like the base, the bracket here. The only downfall to this rudder is it doesn't kick up. All right, and the pond I run this boat in, it's got a lot of turtles. So today we're actually going to be changing out, well, we're going to modify this bracket. I'm basically going to cut these hinge pins off and install this kick up bracket piece right here. Okay, we're going to take it off the base and we're going to install that hinged bracket. All right, should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward modification. I think I'm going to, hopefully I can keep this rudder because I've actually modified the pickup and drilled out the rudder blade. It's a like souped up rudder pickup. All right, more flow, okay, than this little guy right here. You guys can clearly see the difference in the hole. All right, so stick around, you guys. If you have the Blackjack 24, you want to kick up rudder blade, you don't want to replace the bracket, stick around. Big B with Ironclad RC. Let's get to it, you guys. Let's get to it. I've already loosened up the screw for this steering linkage. Okay, you really, on an RC boat, on fast RC boats, you really need a kick up rudder. You know, you hit something and the rudder will kick up on you. Now these generic rudders right here, basically if you want these rudders right here to kick up, all right, all you gotta do is just grind a little bit off that corner right there and it'll allow the rudder to kick up on you. You know, this is just a 90mm generic rudder, OSE, offshore, you know, eBay, Amazon, you get it anywhere. All we're going to use for this from this rudder is that piece right there. That's all I want, you know, that's all I want. So let's go ahead and take it off. I'm going to try to keep the rudder on the boat, man. I'm about to take all this stuff off the transom. And I don't want to have to take my freaking rudder off. And I want to run the boat 2 more times while I'm waiting on this primer to set up. I just sprayed it 1 last time. So I want to get a couple more runs in, all right, with the boat. And, geez, I might need to loosen that up. But, let's see here. So, this rudder blade hadn't been off this bracket in a long time. Hopefully I can get the pin out. All right, so we're going to loosen up this set screw. That'll let the pin float in there. We can pull it out. Okay, and let's see here. Well, I guess when I cut it off, it'll come off. So let me go ahead and loosen up my steering linkage in the boat real quick. I really wanted to cut it right here so I could save that piece right there so I can use it on another boat, you know. But I think I'm going to cut it right here. I want the length, you know. Let's see. So, yeah, that would basically keep the same length if I cut it right on the pivot pin. I really hate to do this, but I like this bracket. Here goes nothing. You guys probably think I'm crazy. Big B, why are you ruining a perfectly good bracket, you know? But, you know, you got to figure. You got a rudder on a boat, okay? You got this rudder right here's got 4 holes in it. So, if you upgrade the rudder or you bend your bracket, you put a different rudder on, you'd actually have to fill in 2 holes. Okay, so you get yourself a new rudder, all right? You don't want to have to fill 2 holes in. It looks tacky. All you got to do is cut the base and put your new rudder on. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So you guys probably think I'm nuts, and I'm not. Well, you know, I might be. I actually might be nuts, but I'm not going to admit it. Okay. So let me grab a file. I'll file this thing right here down. before we put the new bracket on, we're gonna file that corner off right here so she'll kick up. But first, we're gonna go ahead and drill our holes. All I'm gonna do is put my bracket on there, and we're gonna mark it out with a pencil. Okay, it's super easy. All right, boom. I would actually try to run this thing tight up against your rudder bracket. You know, if there's a gap right there, you may have a little bit of play, a little bit of slop, so run it up tight and then just remove that corner right there so it'll kick up. Also, upgrading the bracket to a kick-up bracket, I might have to file a little bit off. You'll actually be able to change up the angle of your rudder with a bracket that kicks up. You tighten up this top screw pretty good, you can actually cant your rudder forward or back, you know, for additional tuning on your boat. You feel me? Alright, so I'm going to file some off the bottom here. Alright, got a little bit of an angle, and we're going to round the top of it so it kicks up. You guys see how I've got it rounded? Just do it little by little so you don't take off too much and it looks tacky, you know. Alright, so I still got a little ways to go. Alright, I'll put it in from this side so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. A little bit more. It's probably all I need right there, really. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Let's do a little bit more. Looks good. So if you're putting a kick-up bracket on your boat, or you have a kick-up rudder, you're definitely going to need some plastic screws. Pro Boat has them, Dubro has them, Offshore Electric has them. All right, I think Oxidean Marine also has them. This is a M4, okay, 4mm. You can get 3mm. I think this is drilled out for a 3mm. So I'm actually going to drill that bottom screw out to 4mm. I've done it to all my boats so I can run these M4 threaded screws. Okay. Alright, gonna get you guys a little close up here. Okay. I got it so my rudder's sitting straight up and down. Alright, I filed it until I got a nice fit right here. Alright, now we got that little rounded area on the top so it kicks back. That's about all you need, really. You know, you hit something, it'll kick up. Alright, got my holes drilled. I actually put the bracket in there while I was drilling the hole out, so both of them are matched up for my through hole, well, my breakaway, excuse me. Alright, so now we can basically put it all back together. I could switch this over to the other side. Alright, let's see if this rudder blade fits real quick, and it does. There's actually a little bit of play right there. Let's see what the old one, the original one, looked like in it. Okay, so it actually has a little bit of play as well. so it's got a little bit of play. This one right here has a little bit more play, so we actually need to put a shim in there, or I've actually had pretty good success putting this in a vise and slowly crimping it down together, and it'll get any slop out of the rudder. Alright, so I actually have this little shim right here. Well, it's actually a washer, and I filed it down a little bit, and that's gonna work. Okay, that's actually gonna work perfect. So let's put our pin in. When you put your pin in, you actually need to make sure that the pin, there's a flat spot. Well, normally there's a flat spot. Jeez, let's check this one. This one might have a flat spot. Yeah, normally there's a flat spot. You just make sure you have that grub screw on the flat spot there. Okay. Normally I would have just put this in a vise right here and kind of cinched down on it in my vise, and that would close up the gap. Like I like to do that on my Velez. It don't really last that long, you know, so I guess a washer would be the best way to do it. And let's see if it works better on the bottom, since the weight's going to be on the bottom. Yeah, my flat spot's lined up. You see that set screw right there? I'm actually having to grind mine down so it don't bump the rudder base. Now my flat spot's sitting right. And with this rudder, that's what it was. So with this rudder, this piece right here is fatter. The hinge pin is actually set deeper onto the strut than the one that we pulled off. You guys see that? Alright, so I actually need to grind or file down the edges of this rudder so it'll spin. Okay, so I need to take all this apart. Rounded off the rudder so it doesn't hit my bracket. You guys see? It's like good now. I actually grinded some off my grub screw. You know, and once I got it in there was a little bit of my grub screw sticking up. It wasn't hitting the bracket, but I actually just took some sandpaper and filed it down and rounded off my grub screw. There's plenty of bite left, you know, plenty of plenty. I actually do that to my drive dogs too. Once I get my grub screw in there, you know, and there's a little bit of drive dog sticking up, actually it would have to be less than that. I'll actually take my sandpaper and run it around it just to kind of make it look pretty. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this bad boy together. Okay, pretty simple. Just reverse order. Okay, make sure it kicks up before we put it all back together. Alright, D-U-N, done. Alright, it actually turned out pretty good. Okay, make sure your screw's not too tight so it don't kick up. You know, this is what's left of this rudder. I've actually got one of these brackets right here somewhere. I actually like bent one of my old rudders, and I've got that bracket laying around somewhere, so I'll be able to use this rudder later on. I've got 2 or 3 of these rudders brand new. So yeah, I mean, this is just something you got to do when you're an RC boater. You know what I'm saying? You gotta modify. You gotta you know, make things work on any specific boats. You know, sometimes you get a rudder and the rudder's too long or too wide, and you got to cut down the leading edge, or the bracket's too long, you got to cut down the bracket. You know what I'm saying? It was simple, straightforward, but a lot of my subscribers, a lot of my viewers, you guys might not know how to do something like this. We'll see you next time. Big B, we're Ironclad RC.